USCIS forms have recently expired without a replacement, and new questions have been added. Not to mention that the filing fees are expected to more than double in price. We're going to cover these important changes so that you can make sure you or your lawyer handles this process right, on the first try, and without any delays. If you're new to our channel, welcome. On this channel, we help ambitious professional couples handle their own marriage green card without making the mistakes we've made. Our immigration journey was prolonged by quite a bit of time, so yours doesn't have to. So first, expiring forms and addition dates. Did you know that a USCIS form just recently expired? We're going to let you know exactly which one and how to make sure you or your lawyer uses the right one. But first, what happens if you use an old form? The USCIS often updates their forms. Very often, there are no actual changes made to the previous one. However, it does happen that forms either expire or the contents of the forms actually change. And the contents of a form did actually recently change, which caused a lot of controversy. We'll discuss those changes a little later in the video. However, the reason it's important to ensure that you're using up-to-date forms is because if you file your application using an outdated form, the USCIS will reject your case. When this happens, you or your lawyer will need to wait to receive your entire package back and then refile, paying the shipping costs again, etc. It's a major waste of time and will lose you at least one extra month of your time. It's important, if you plan to hire a lawyer, that you look out for simple mistakes like this. Otherwise, you'll end up needing to spend more money and will already have wasted a lot of time. And I'll say that it's even more important than ever to be on top of simple mistakes to avoid getting caught refiling after the USCIS significantly increases their filing fees. Just to give you a simple scenario, let's imagine the filing fees go up in May. In April, you submit your entire case with the previous filing fees. Your case gets rejected for whatever reason, and now that you refile in May, you will need to submit with the new increased filing fees. If you're curious to learn more about these upcoming fee increases, be sure to watch this recent video we made breaking them down. Now, before we tell you the currently expired form and how to find the correct one, the second thing we wanted to break down is the difference between expiration and addition dates on the forms. This is something that causes a lot of confusion among couples. First, the addition date on USCIS forms refers to the date that a particular version of the form was issued or published by the USCIS. The USCIS periodically updates its forms to ensure that they are in compliance with current immigration laws, regulations, and policies. When the USCIS updates a form, they issue a new edition of the form with a revised edition date. The expiration date, on the other hand, refers to the date until which that particular version of the form is valid for use. After the expiration date has passed, the USCIS may consider that version of the form obsolete, and it may no longer be accepted for filing certain immigration applications or petitions. But this is not always the case. The USCIS does often send news updates where they will accept forms beyond their expiration date. However, it is best practice to always submit the newest form even when the USCIS is flexible. Why? Because it's too often the case that the USCIS will not follow their own policies and will still issue you a time-wasting RFE. For example, last year they updated Form I-45, and the note on their website mentioned that until a certain date they would still accept an older edition. But guess what? Couples inside our program who applied months before that date still got an RFE asking them to submit the new edition, which was completely unfair and wrong. So, always try to make sure you're placing yourself in the best position to receive a favorable outcome from the start. This simple thing can save you a ton of time and stress. So, before we let you know the form that recently expired and how to always stay up to date, we'd like to encourage you to apply to our marriage immigration method. We guide ambitious immigrant couples through their entire immigration journey, fast, easy, and on the first try. Our revolutionary program has already helped numerous couples save themselves collectively years of waiting and tens of thousands of dollars in expenses. You can schedule a free strategy session with us using the links in the description and in the comments. We look forward to speaking with you about supercharging your success through this process. Finally, to find out which forms have been updated, we've included a link in the description. This link leads to a USCIS page where they are constantly providing the newest form updates. It's recommended to provide your email so that you can be notified anytime a form has been updated. But other than that, you can also go to the actual form itself. With a list of all of the required forms, you can simply search them in Google and navigate to the form details portion. There, you can select the PDF link and look to the top right of the page to find the expiration date and the bottom left to find the addition date. Finally, the form that recently expired is Form I-864, which also already happens to be the form that generates the most requests for evidence. The form expired on December 31st, 2023. And crazy enough, at the time of recording this video, which was way past the 12/31 expiration date, the USCIS has still not provided us with an updated form to use. That being said, we will make sure to post an update in the comments as soon as the USCIS issues a new edition. And by the way, did you know that the USCIS fees are likely going to more than double in price? We're going to discuss this increase later on in the video, but let us know with a quick comment if you're planning to apply way before they go into effect. Now, to our second point, the recently added public charge questions. Another thing that you need to know is that from time to time, the USCIS does add additional questions to their forms. They've done it with forms I-45 and I-131 last year. Their I-45 change caused some controversy, and we'll show you which questions were added and what they mean. But first, which form was recently affected? The form affected was Form I-45, the application to register permanent residence or adjust status. So what exactly was the controversy and how does it impact you? The new questions were strongly challenged in court around the increased complexity and potential challenges these changes pose for adjustment of status applicants. This rule revises the criteria used to determine whether green card applicants are likely to become a public charge, meaning primarily dependent on the government to support their life. The assessment now includes a new section in Form I-45, which gathers detailed information about the applicant's financial status and personal circumstances. First, and this is very important, when it comes to question 61 on page 13, you must say yes. The vast majority of applicants are subject to INA section 212A4. You can check that in the I-45 instruction, but we've also included a link for you below that shows that spouses of U.S. citizens are subject to that law. Now, the whole controversy regarding these questions ultimately lies in the perceived challenges these changes bring. For instance, the detailed financial information required can be a struggle for applicants, especially for those with complex financial situations or who lack a stable income. Additionally, the requirement to list educational and professional qualifications might disadvantage applicants from certain backgrounds or those with limited formal education. And finally, the rule change adds another layer of scrutiny to an already rigorous process, potentially increasing the time and effort needed to complete the application. Ultimately, there are 11 public charge-related questions on Form I-45. These new additions are included on page 13 and are questions 61 through 68B. This is a very big change to the previously only 2 asked questions, which in the past were 1, whether you've received public assistance from the United States, and 2, whether you're likely to receive public assistance in the future. The new questions, however, require much more information. You'll need to begin collecting information to correctly answer the new questions, such as the total value of your household assets, the total value of your household liabilities, and the immigrant's certifications, licenses, skills obtained through work experience, and education certificates. And this is just a few of the questions they're now asking. Another thing that makes no sense is that they ask you all of these questions about your household, and then they jump straight into asking for the immigrant's certifications, skills, etc., without making this clear. Again, always refer to the form instructions if you aren't sure about something. Those instructions are intentionally confusing, but they do ultimately provide an answer. Finally, we're about to see a major USCIS fee increase, so stick around to the end to learn exactly how much you'll be required to pay and which forms will be affected. Currently, the filing fees for your entire marriage adjustment application are $17.60. In January of 2023, however, the USCIS proposed a significant increase in immigration filing fees affecting various forms and applications. The USCIS initially opened a public comment period in January and then extended it until March of 2023. But we haven't had any update for months since then. So, how likely do we think that it will be that these fees increase? Very likely, and for 2 reasons. First, this is because the current USCIS fees have remained unchanged since 2016, and according to the USCIS, the current fees fall far short of recovering the full cost of agency operations since, again, according to them, approximately 96% of their funding comes from these filing fees. And second, the USCIS actually tried to raise their fees in 2020. However, it didn't happen because the proposed changes were enjoined by federal court and never implemented due to all of the pandemic events, which makes perfect sense why they were not allowed to raise their fees back then. Now, you may be thinking and crossing your fingers that this could happen again, but the courts were able to stop the fee increase because of the global situation we were dealing with at the time. Since the fee increases are pretty much guaranteed to be approved this time around, it's even more important that you get your green card application filed right away, which is another reason to consider applying to our Marriage Immigration Method program, where you can, like our members on average, prepare an application that gets accepted on the first try in less than 3 weeks from when you join. That way, you can get your application into USCIS processing way before the fees are set to double. You heard me right, and this leads us to our second point, which is, what will the process likely cost you when this increase happens? The USCIS fees are expected to rise to $3,640 for the exact same process, exact same forms, and everything else. Currently, you only need to pay for 2 forms. Form I-130, which costs $535, and Form I-45, which costs $1,225. And here's a pro tip for those of you applying soon. When you file work and travel permits with your Form I-45, they're currently free. But here's the thing, the USCIS tried to change that in 2020, and they're trying to change it again, which leads me to the final point, which is that forms that used to be free won't likely be free anymore. The new fee schedule would charge separate fees for Forms I-45, I-765, and I-131, drastically increasing the cost for individuals adjusting their status to permanent resident. The total cost for these will rise to $2,820, a 130% increase. And finally, Form I-130, the petition for alien relative fees, will rise by 53% to $820. With all of those changes, that'll bring your total up from $1,760 to $3,640. These increases are significant, which makes it even more important for you to apply and get started as soon as possible. Thanks for watching. Give this video a like, and we look forward to seeing you next time.